We spend an average of 8 hours and 41 minutes a day facing screens. Laptops, smartphones, tablets, even digital refrigerators. But what are we really connected to? Isn't it time you connected to something greater? Sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect. This moment of escape was created by Hagerty for people who love cars.
Welcome to RCS. I'm Dan.
I'm Nick.
As always, Rain City Supercars is brought to you by Avance,
Carter Subaru,
Drivers Club,
Griot's Garage,
Hagerty,
Rainier Beer,
Salvo Designs,
and our in-kind sponsorship with America's Automotive Trust and LeMay Automotive Museum.
You sound
and we're in different locations. Dan, you've left town, and all it's done is rain here. I don't know why. I mean, even Seattle misses you.
I can't say I feel the same, to be honest. It's been beautiful and sunny in McCall, Idaho, where I am loving life.
Everybody has been telling me, and they're watching your videos and your little stuff. It looks like you're staying inside and sheltering in place. I'm proud of you.
Yes, I am. There isn't a mask in sight, so it's probably the smart thing to do.
I see. It's starting to get like that up here now. All these stores are starting to say, "Hey, if you have a mask, you're good." And it is weird to actually see people and you can see their face and they smile. I'm not going to lie. You're getting used to it. So.
The last time, before I left home, I, as you know, I have made many, many, many trips to Home Depot. We'll get into that on the show here. But I don't wear a mask. I'm vaccinated, for the record. I got the Moderna shot. The second part was awful. But I'm like, that's why I don't wear a mask. That's the whole reason I got vaccinated, so I could stop doing this. And I'm still like going into, I'm not stage diving at concerts or anything. But I'm like, I'm going into Home Depot and I run in and out, in and out, in and out. I swear to God, you would think I was open carrying an AR-15. Some people are either just happy to see me or they're just like terrified. There's no between. It's really polarizing and weird.
I mean, if anything, it's causing great memes on the internet of people that are being the Karens of the world asking people if they've been vaccinated and the great responses that are coming back that most of them I can't say on here because they're inappropriate. But, it's been good. But, yeah, we're coming out of it finally. Looks like we're going to get a decision out of the lovely governor of California here. They're going to open up and finalize Car Week, which will be good. I don't know. It's interesting. So.
Yeah, thank God. I'm really excited Car Week's coming back and things. I mean, ours, Exotics has been back. I'm sorry I missed German Car Day. Of course I couldn't make because I've been packing and moving, but it looked like an awesome time.
I don't think I was there either. Was I there? I don't think well, maybe I was.
No,
I don't remember.
Or something.
No, I went. I think I went because
No, I think you did.
I think I did.
We can't keep them straight.
My brain fog has been bad since I was sick, and so I'm coming out. But I'm pretty sure I was there. I think I wandered through it like a ghost. Yeah, of course I was there because I saw our good friend Kristen from LeMay, and she was working. I was about to say working the rows, but that's probably not going to sound good. But she was. I think she's an official thug now, so she was out there working. So it's good to see her.
Awesome. Yeah, it's nice to see people embracing events again.
And I want to bring this up because we hadn't talked in a while, but they're opening up a brand new Alfa Romeo exhibit down at LeMay, I believe, this month on the 26th, which will be really cool. And actually, our good friend Fred Russell is helping them with that because he's like the Alpha guy around here. So I thought I would tell our listeners about that. Yeah, I think he's the head of multiple Alpha clubs, and I think most of the knowledge is in his head. So
right,
pretty impressive, actually. Yeah. So.
Well, so we're going to follow up from our last episode. So I did end up getting a trailer like the day after we recorded the episode. I ended up finding a Harbor Freight trailer. Just at random, one popped up that day in Monroe, and I drove up and got it. And thanks to you and Gaurav and Todd, I was able to get that trailer together along with the rack for my truck. And I have a very nice rack, for the record. I love this rack. So.
Yeah. I've always said that, Dan, even before you put one on your truck. So, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, so shout out to Extrusion Overland. Look them up. They're not typical. They run no sponsorship. They didn't give me any discount on this thing. But they were very, very helpful about me setting it up. And it's extremely modular. I've never seen another rack like it for a truck. And they have them for just about everything. But I've been really happy with it as I've traveled down here to McCall. But back to that trailer. That was quite the process.
The directions that were done in crayon by some small child in a third world country. Yeah, you bet. Mm-hmm.
They were the single worst directions I've ever seen for anything. And of course,
it's not a bad trailer. Like when you get it together. I mean, I guess I should ask. I only saw it in the garage. Did it roll all the way to McCall?
Yeah, and it's been great. I found a few little. I mean, it's a Harbor Freight trailer that was $350. So I mean, you sort of get what you pay for. But yeah. But I mean, it's been better than I expected for the money. And I've been making this joke, sort of laughing. What do you guys think cost me more, the wood or the trailer? And it was the wood. I spent more on lumber than I did on the trailer itself. Now, if you add in like all the miscellaneous fasteners and tie-down points I've got on there, it's probably cost me more to build the trailer itself. But the lumber itself was actually a little over $300 and something bucks. It was like, because I went pressure-treated lumber and things like that because it's going to sit outside for the most part, and I wanted it to last a long time. But holy crap, $80 a sheet, 2 4x8 sheets of pressure-treated plywood to make the base and the sides, and then the pressure-treated 2x4s to create the stake pockets, which apparently 2x4s in wherever that trailer is manufactured are a different size than the ones here. They do
2x3s, 2x2.5. Yeah. And just remember, if anything falls out bolt-wise, that was Garoff's job to tighten those ones. So it's not me. Yeah.
So fun fact though on these trailers. So it did take me a lot to get this thing put together, but I've learned a lot in the process too, as we always do when we start these projects. And for tie down points, I was thinking I would just buy those little D-ring 2-bolt tie downs, but I ended up going, after looking online, with the E-Track system. If anybody hasn't heard of E-Track, it's a standardized I guess tie down system, or what do you call that?
I mean, you see it in every race car trailer, I mean, it's basically it's like a claw clamp that you push together and then flip it into the rail and then it clamps down, right?
Yeah,
Folds
exactly.
out.
Yeah, and they're really simple. They're really handy. I'd never used them before. I'd seen them over the years, but I'd never used them before. And I ended up, like I said, after doing a bunch of research online, I was saying, just go with E-Track. It's dirt cheap. You're already at Harbor Freight and get it. And they were right. This stuff is awesome. I've been really impressed with it. And since I've been down here, I've actually ordered more. And I got E-Track wheel chocks for the motorcycles, which I should have done in the beginning because everything takes like 5 days longer to get to McCall than it does to get to anywhere else.
Oh, you don't have Amazon Prime there in McCall? I'm sorry.
It's so funny because I have like my old address punched in and it's like available to you tomorrow if you order now, which I'm used to with Amazon Prime and being in Washington. But McCall, it's like, I see that, then I change the address, then it's like available in 7 to 10 business days if you're lucky.
Available eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, I'm assuming the monkeys traveled well. All what it was, like 400 pounds of them.
Yes, they did. I should get into the Carter Subaru tip of the day. I guess I was going to make that about tie downs and E-Track, but it's going to be about tie downs really, and that's the main thing. Is I've learned a lot of. I ended up purchasing more tie downs on my way out of town, and I had a bunch, but I put them in storage because I brought like 6 with me, thinking that would be plenty. It was not. So one of the things I didn't consider was how much. Because that trailer has terrible suspension. It weighs nothing and it bounces all over the road behind me. It's so small that you literally just kind of move it by hand when you take it off the truck. But that's a downside too. So every time I hit a bump, the rear wheels of the motorcycles were shifting back and forth, and they ended up on top of the ramp that I had tied down in the back, and actually ground down one of the foot pegs and dented the ramp for that matter. And I checked that thing probably every stop. I checked all the tie downs, everything, had to readjust everything a little bit. But basically, I ended up going away. I had removed a bunch of bungees and went with tie downs for the rear wheels to hold them in place because they're moving around so much. So luckily, those are easy to find just about anywhere. But I ended up with multiple different types because I have ratcheting straps that I have for like the really tight stuff. That I have for specific motorcycle straps that wrap around the handlebars and don't scratch the handlebars and crunch cables and stuff like that. But the rear wheels were not something I considered. So what I ended up doing was I ordered up these wheel chocks that aren't here yet for the fronts. That'll keep the front totally stable and locked in place. But the rear wheels on those, on a motorcycle, you need to tie down as well when it's in the middle of your bed, or they're going to hop around. And so, which is one of the stupid things I've always known because I've been hauling motorcycles for 25 years. You'd think I'd figure this out by now. And I just didn't think about it. I thought, the bikes are so small, they're not going to move that much. I was wrong. So to fix that, I ended up tying it down to the rear of the trailer, just a single tie down in a loop. And that actually solved my problem. But I should have thought of it from the beginning. But anyway, multiple different kinds of tie downs were used. Ratcheting straps for the stuff I don't want to move anywhere ever that can take that kind of pressure. And then a single pull straps for stuff that needs just a little less strength. I don't have to worry about crushing things with them like I would a ratcheting tie down. So anyway, but that's the Carter Super tip of the week. And this one is, add that to your mandatory list. If you own a truck, throw like 8 tie downs in there. At least 4 ratcheting, at least 4 just standard pull-through tie downs. You'll always have a reason to have them. And I was so glad I had as many as I did with me. I still needed more, though. So.
Yeah, I think we've always found that no matter if you're hauling something or if you're up in the woods, and you can always use a tie down or a ratchet strap for something.
Yep.
I mean, heck, redneck engineering, I've seen people put axles back on with those things. So, well, temporarily.
Yeah, limiting straps. Actually, I've used a tie down as a limiting strap before in a broken 4x4. Yeah. But even in a car, bungee straps, you can get them just about anywhere. Amazon, of course, Griot's Garage, RCS 10. I think they have tie downs as well.
Oh, yes, Griot's Garage, our good detail sponsor. I tell you, I just noticed I got an email from them. They're coming out with like their 500th issue of the magazine. They got a really cool car on the front of it. So,
is it one we know?
Can't wait to see that. No, it's a old school race car. So,
oh, sweet. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess it's in an email, but I mean, it's an old school Indy car. But, it'll be really cool. So.
Yeah. Speaking of Griot's Garage, I should shout out to them. Okay, we obviously RCS 10 gives us a discount, and we use their products religiously because we need them, and they work great. But their bug barricade, I have been going through like water every time I leave this place. The fun of living in the country is all the places you can explore. The downside is I've had to wash the truck 4 times since I've been here in a week, and I'm not kidding. I've washed it 4 times. I should have like a frequent flyer card at the pressure washer here. I laugh because this is in my notes in the drive to McCall that the car wash here has the strongest pressure washer I've ever seen at a car wash.
Oh, you went back to that one.
Yeah.
I remember that was across the street when we were on the on last year's rally. I remember that.
It's across the street from the Holiday Inn, and I laugh because if you just pull the handle, you're like, oh, it's not that strong. But if you give it like just a hair of a harder pull, like you don't really notice it, but if you really squeeze that trigger, you can practically pull paint off most cars with that thing.
We were all laughing about that at the Holiday, and then people would come back and be like, "Oh,
like I can't hold it with one hand. It's hard to control." So, but thank God for bug barricade because I spray it on every time I wash the truck. I let it dry it off, do all that, and then I've been using the Quick Ceramica 3-in-1 they've got after the wash, just to kind of keep things fresh. But then if I'm going to go, and I've been exploring all these back roads, you guys probably see me uploading videos. I've got a bunch more. But that stuff, thank God for bug barricade because, like, every time I stop, I have to clean the windshield. It's so bad that I mean, the mosquitoes up here, like Alaska mosquitoes for one, like you can hear them when they hit, and then there's butterflies everywhere, and it's like, which
are
I'm
you
like,
killing butterflies?
I know, not intentionally, but yeah, thank God.
Don't you know there's an
effect
barricade. To that? Yeah, there's an effect to that. I will tell you this, not to get on the same thing, but I have been recently using that new ceramic speed shine that they just came out with, and it's really nice. I mean, for even though I have the ceramic on the Maserati and the Subaru, but it's been really great lately. So,
yeah.
I mean, the question our listeners want to know is, did you guys get to McCall with all the same windshield?
Yes, there were no windshields broken in so far.
No, that counts. It's every trip you take. I mean, so you're there. We're going to count it. Yeah.
The Audi has a brand new one, so we can really tell if that one's bad. But the F-150's already got one chip, not from this trip, though. And so, but yeah, I've been using that bug barricade to get all the bugs off. But, you know, there's kind of the running joke that I tell everybody. It's not a joke at all, actually. We tell everybody every time they come to McCall, watch out for the deer. Like, there's warnings, and there's us telling you, no, slow down and watch out for the deer because it's a real thing here. And I don't think I've ever left the house, even going for like a 1-mile trip into town, and not seen a deer. They're usually like eating through the yard here. In fact, I'm trying to look and see if there's one out the window right now. There's usually a bunch here. It's like they're like,
somebody's watching you. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like, they're more popular here than cats. Like you see more deer than you do cats and dogs. They're just everywhere, right? And since I've been here, in the week I've been here, I've seen a moose on the road. I've seen deer. I've seen foxes. I've seen coyotes. I've seen a rattlesnake that I thought I ran over. We brushed a family of grouse off the road that like wouldn't move. So Shauna runs out and like practically picked one up. It was hilarious. And I edited it out of a video, but it was hilarious to watch her try and like collect these little baby brand new grouse babies. But I mean, there is just animals everywhere up here. It's just gorgeous. And everything's still green. It's not on fire yet because it will be as always around here. But it's the perfect time to come to McCall.
Yeah, McCall is one of my favorite places on earth. It's just so pretty. So I'm jealous of that. You know, we were hoping to get down there, but I don't know if that's going to happen now. But we know that the deer are vicious and they like to run out in front of cars, so you got to watch out for that. Especially Porsches, yeah.
I have found so many roads since I've been here, and it's only been a week, but I keep it's fun to be here in the truck, and you'd love it in the Subaru. In fact, if you come down here, I would actually, as tempting as it is, you can't go wrong either way. If you have a sports car, a truck, or anything with even like mild ground clearance, there's infinite places to go here. And so I've been having the luxury that I've never had before of, where does that road go? I'll just go take it and see how far I can get. I drove all the way, like halfway across Idaho, literally. I mean, I probably drove 60 miles outside of McCall on a gravel road. Eventually, I just turned around because I was running out of daylight, and I didn't want to drive back in the dark because of the deer. But I was literally just like, I have no idea where I am. I've got GPS tracks on, so I'll figure it out. And I had a full tank of gas. But, I mean, it was 60 miles from McCall. I never went through anything. I did find a weird town, middle of nowhere, a little sketchy. Didn't hear any banjos, didn't see any rebel flags, didn't see any other strange flags flying, but you never know with Idaho.
That's North Idaho, Dan. Everybody knows that. Yeah.
This was pretty deep central Idaho in the woods, and I was a little concerned. I'm not going to lie. But I was like, I'm like 40 miles from town, and there's a lot of people out here. This is weird.
Well, I mean, that country is beautiful. I mean, I think it's just the fact that we have had the opportunity to explore so much of this area that having new places to discover was nice. I mean, I can't think of the last time I went driving down a dirt road and didn't know where I was going. Most of the time because I get lost so easily. But yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking. So last time there's a story from the last rally, and we joke because then it got worse. Where we had to turn around, at that by the dam.
Yeah.
But in Hell's Canyon, we had to turn around because they blocked the road for fire. And I did end up taking that whole road and seeing the fire, and that brush fire did go for quite a ways. But I finally got to drive over the top, which is, looking at it, it's funny because except for the Kleinschmidt grade is the road up. After you get up the grade, it's actually like you could have passed it in just about any passenger car. The road wasn't bad at all. In fact, it's the smoothest gravel road I've ever been on. But getting up there was pretty sketchy and pretty steep. And but I finally got to do that run, and man, it is so cool. Like, there's so many endless gravel roads and views you can go. Like, it's just, the more you explore, the more beautiful it gets. And I invite anybody to come down. I posted it on Avance. Like, if you guys want to come down and say hi, let me know. I'll definitely go out and buy the first round. I'm definitely good for that. And there's a few people coming down.
Have you found the local watering spot yet? Have you found a good one? We have the Outside Tavern here, so it's hard.
I have found them. I'm not going to go as far as to say they were good ones. We do not have a Mount Si pub or a Roanoke or the Last Frontier here, which is surprising. I actually thought I would, but the one bar that's open late, see, McCall's kind of weird. It shuts down at like 10 at the latest. That's a late night thing here. There's the Shore Lodge if you want a nice drink, but you're going to pay for it. Literally, I mean, Shore Lodge is really nice. You're going to pay $15 to $20 a drink there for a mixed drink. There's a place called the Yacht Club, which unfortunately is a club, and it's terrible. And I mean, I guess if I was in my early 20s and was coming up from Boise State, like, maybe I would have some fun there. But I'm like, I am way too old to be in here is the vibe when I walk in now.
So, the younger crowd, I see. Okay.
Yeah, and at this age, like, one, I'm not single, and two, like, everybody in there, I'm like, are you 12? Because that's how you look at people when you get old. Like, you don't know how old they are. They just all look like kids to you. I'm just like, I feel so out of place here. I'm not there.
I just instantly went to the yacht clubs around here, and the fact that I thought you meant old people and ascots and captain's hats, but that makes a lot more sense in McCall.
Yeah, exactly. So there's good food here for the most part. Not the sushi bar.
Really, fresh sushi isn't in the middle of Idaho. That's weird.
No. I'm just going to throw him under the bus because I already wrote him a terrible review. I'm how I am about dining. Like, I'm super picky about my dining experiences. Like, if I'm paying for service, I want service. I'm a good tipper. The worst service I've ever had in my life. Like, the waiter checked on us like once. It took us an hour and a half to get our food. I was with reservations. I was like, it's sushi. It was terrible. But anyway, I don't recommend the sushi restaurant here, but the Foglifter Cafe, which still really go to, decent coffee. You're not going to find, like, when you come from Washington, and this is one of the things I'm definitely a snob about, we don't have good coffee outside of Washington. Washington really, really is above and beyond in the coffee area. And until you've had a bunch of coffee in Washington, you don't realize that. If you're not from Washington, you're like, it can't be that bad. No, it's really bad when you're not in Washington. It's the one thing Washington just totally blows everybody else out of the water for. That's coffee. There's 3 places within 20 minutes of my house that are like top-notch, amazing coffee. I've tried every coffee spot in McCall. Not so good. They try.
And have you found a replacement for your North Bend donuts? I've noticed more and more of our friends online are posting photos from there. Good. Kevin and Caitlin, I see, discovered it finally after moving there. So.
Yep. Yeah. We've had some coworkers send photos. They've heard me talk about it on the show, and they're like, "You weren't kidding. These are the best donuts ever." Yeah. There is no donut shop in McCall. There's 3 bakeries, no donuts. The only donuts are at Albertsons.
That's a nice Albertsons, though.
Yeah, coincidentally, the best sushi in town is at Albertsons as well.
That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me. So do you guys have some big plans for exploring? Are you going to take some, go out on the weekends and get away from wherever you're staying? You guys are just renting a house, right?
Yeah, we just rented Airbnb down here for the month to hang out. And so there's a hike up here called Loon Lake where there's a downed B-17 bomber. It's about a 10-mile hike, but it's only about 1,300 feet of elevation gain and loss, so it's a pretty easy 10-mile hike. So we're going to hit that up in a couple of weeks and go do that hike. I'll send some photos from there. One of the things I am doing, which people have noticed a lot, is I've got this GoPro and I'm using it religiously now. So I'm time-lapsing literally every drive I have. I've actually got the kit to hardwire it into the Ford right now. So I've got a hardwire kit for USB-C power to it now. But yeah,
are you able to find another place to wire it in? I thought we used the last one.
I'm wiring directly to the battery, and so because I'm mounting it externally, so I'm just going to directly mount it to the battery. I also have one for the monkeys, and we brought the monkeys too.
I see you put a few miles on the monkeys down there, but a good way to get around McCall.
The best way. I'm so glad. At first I was thinking, I don't know how much I'll use these down here. No, it's the perfect vehicle for McCall because parking's pretty tight down here. It's just a popular vacation spot, and the weather's been gorgeous, so it's been flooded with tourists. So when there's no parking, the monkey's great.
Yeah, I remember last time we were in McCall, there was a ton of like those side-by-sides out there because you can drive those on the street.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
I was laughing, Dan, because ever since you've left, and this is the only time I've seen him, there is somebody up on Sammamish here that has a brand new red and white monkey that looks a lot like you. And I see him everywhere. And so, as you know, my monkey's out of commission with Northwest Craft Interior working on my seat. So I keep seeing this guy, and every time I want to see him, I think I need to jump on my bike and go see who it is. But maybe it's just a ghost of you riding around Sammamish. I don't know. So, yeah.
Well, I think you should load up your monkey in your Subaru and get down here, man.
I've done measurements, and I thought it would fit. I don't know if it will, but I mean, someday.
Just take the bars down. Take the bars down. It'll fit.
I don't know. I was looking at that. I don't know. It's a height issue with the bars, which I know I could fix, but it's a little bit of a length issue too, and the fact that the way the seats go down, I don't know if it would work. And I'm old, Dan, and I don't know if I want to hurt myself putting a small bike in the back of a Subaru.
Do you have a trailer hitch on that?
No. The problem with trailer hitches is they drop way below the rear bumper, and it takes away all the little bit of height I've gotten out of that car. But I don't know. It's I have done many measurements with it, so it's we'll see. I finally got the all-season tires on it. It's just sitting here lonely looking at me. So yeah.
Yeah, I brought the tires with me. Oh, speaking of which, those came in handy on the ride down too. So I packed the trailer with the tires through the rear tire tie down, and I sat the wheels inside the rear tires, the ones that I have not mounted yet. That actually worked really well to help secure the bike.
Yeah,
and cushion.
Makes sense.
Unintentional, but it worked great. So.
Did you just have the monkeys in the trailer, or were you hauling other stuff in there?
I had the monkeys, and I had one container of tools and hardware. So I brought additional tie-down points, screws, things I might need for the trailer. I brought. I'm doing an oil change. I haven't done it yet. I've got an oil change to do on the monkeys. I'm going to do the clutch while I'm down here. I'm living down here for the month, so I have time to do those things. Yeah. And the place we've got has a nice garage, so I'm doing that.
Monkey maintenance.
Yeah.
So good old monkey maintenance. Yeah.
Monkey maintenance and all that. I'm kind of laughing because I'm probably going to get more done while I'm here than I am at home because there's so many fewer distractions, as weird as that sounds, during the week. It's still a small town. There's not a lot you can do after dark, and so it's a nice way to unwind, to work in a garage.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you'll get the fever like the rest of us have, and the monkeys change quickly. But
I'm still just fighting time to do it. It's been fun though, man. I love it down here. You get off your butt and get down here. Just do it.
Well, I mean, without revealing too much, that was the plan, but somebody was injured, not me for once, so I will see. So it's getting better. But yeah, I mean, I was gonna ask you something. I totally forgot. I keep thinking I should go down and visit whoever's in your house now and just say hi and be like, hey, I used to come here a lot. I'd like to still come here. As you can see, I know the garage code. No.
Hopefully that's been changed.
Yes, I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. So it's but so it sounds like you're going to do you're going to do the big hike up there, and that'll be fun. That'll be fun. Did you see that? This is a totally off topic, but I was reading an article today that Daimler-Benz is going to sell off a bunch of their dealerships in Europe to build up capital. So basically, sell off the dealerships in the land, but keep the dealerships there and secure the jobs. And for like $1.2 billion. I'm like, what are they up to? Obviously, they still haven't delivered those hypercars to people, the AMG ones. So I don't know what's going on. It's kind of interesting. Every once in a while, your newsfeed will pop up with something kind of interesting.
Huh. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny to hear that because the market is doing so well. This is a good topic to switch it up to. The used car market is insane right now. As everybody knows, I was searching for an R8 forever, and they have actually gone up in value. The V10 Pluses, which is very, very rare. Even the V10s have gone up in price. There's just not a lot of them out there. But like the car market in general,
everything has gone up in price. I mean, I was, listeners don't know this, but I was talking to our good friend Brian, who's going to go on the Monkey Rally with us, and we were talking about my Subaru lease and getting into something different. And which, by the way, some things about leases I learned from him that we need to talk about on the show. What they were going to get for my car was incredible, even with the miles on it. It's just, I'm seeing, this is a perfect example. I'm seeing like the 2-year-old Subarus that are going for $2,000 less than they bought new. I was reading an article about a guy that bought a $70,000 truck or $75,000 truck 5 years ago, or no, 2 years ago, put 25,000 miles on it, and they're giving him 72 at a dealership. People, they don't have cars.
Yeah, I keep getting asked actually from the Ford dealer. They keep sending me mails, and they've actually had somebody like, you get the automated mail. We want your trade, and I've gotten the actual written mail. Hey, you're in for service. My name's so-and-so, give me a call. Like, we want to buy your truck. It's still under warranty. It's in condition. Like, we'll pay you $75 right now. And I'm like, I didn't pay that for the truck, for one. And I'm really tempted to take that. I'm like, I don't know what I would replace it with, but how often do you get offered more than what you paid for your new truck? So.
After you just got the rack on it, too.
Yeah, I know. Again, thanks to Todd and Garov, because that was a nightmare by myself. And no fault of the rack manufacturer. I just didn't do it the right way. It's much like the truck bed cover. Doing it over again, no problem. Doing it the first time, problem.
Yeah. Well, and that also tells you about the craftsmanship, that it's so sturdy and so good. It should be tough to put on. Stuff that goes on really easily comes off really easily.
Right. So I keep checking the bolts on it because I Loctited every single bolt on there as the instruction said so. Just Loctite blue, not red. Don't worry. But every single one is held up tight. It's holding tight. Like I had to make my own mounts for the. I've got the ARB Tread Pros on the side, and I tried ordering the mounts for them, like the official mounts, not just the pins, but there's a mount that works perfectly with the rack, and it's on back order for like 6 months. Nobody's got one, so I ended up using these M8 bolts with washers just to hold it on, and a little bit of Loctite because I can break Loctite loose. And sure enough, nothing has moved. It was the cheapest thing I've ever done for a mount, but it worked. It was in $6 in hardware, and I don't know if I'll ever replace it with the factory one, even because it's like $150 for the really nice mounting with the pins and the quick release and all that stuff. And I'm like, I don't actually need that. This works fine. So.
Oh yeah, the funny thing is I have those same boards and those same pins. And I've had a real trouble with the caps that go over the pins because they're cheap plastic and they break.
Huh.
And also they won't sell you the cheap plastic caps without the pins. So,
That's annoying.
You touched on a hot button there. Actually, it's something I was dealing with this week because I put the basket and everything back on the top of the Subaru, and two of the plastic things, which are supposed to be the safety things, have broken, and not just by being up there, and they're kind of protected. So I don't know. I have Max Track pins, but they don't work with the Subaru racks because the pins sit the bolts sit too far down. So I'm having like you to kind of start figuring out jimmy rig. I know for a fact, this is people are looking that Yakima makes some Tread Pro mounts that Velcro in, but you can put the pins in too if you find aftermarket pins. So yeah. So
I'll stick with my $6 Home Depot bolts for now.
I think exactly if it works. I mean, we should talk about that. You said something that we should talk about sometime on one of the episodes is Loctite, because I think so many people don't understand it, including me. I mean, I know I've used red Loctite on things like brake rotors and things like that, but the differences. So that would be a good topic sometime.
Yeah, that is a good one. Actually, we'll cover that in our next episode, because I learned a lot about Loctite recently. I found different ones. Well, everybody usually just thinks Loctite blue and red. Well, there's like 6 different varieties of Loctite for very specific applications I wasn't aware of until now. So like they have even I think some material specific ones too, which is pretty cool. So I mean, it's actually kind of hard to find. So unless you have a special use case, you probably don't need it. One of the things I wish I did get was brush on, but we'll talk about that in the next episode.
Yeah, definitely. I know with everything I'm doing with my stuff, I've been blue Loctiting stuff. And like I said, I have some red stuff, but by the way, don't ever get that on anything that's not what you want to put it on.
No. In fact, you can strip, anything outside of a grade 8 bolt, you'll probably strip if you don't heat up red Loctite. I'll give you that one right now. I've learned that the hard way. Like, you'll be wishing you had like a really long 1/2-inch breaker bar to break those bolts loose with red Loctite. So.
I will say this: I finally invested in a good heat gun I got from Home Depot for like $30, and it has changed my life.
Oh,
I didn't realize how many things I could use it on. Just stupid stuff as far as removing stickers or heating up bolts or things like that, or jump starting my oven, things like that.
I was going to say, careful! You can light stuff on fire with one of those pretty easily. I found out.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I'm not that I know that in any way, shape, or form, but definitely my smoke detectors do. So yeah. I learned that the hard way.
That's hilarious.
So, yeah.
I was going to talk more about some of the stuff I'm doing down here. Is I'm turning this into a bit of a work trip for Dan's drives as well. I posted a couple of videos, TED as we call it, the endurance drive, which you didn't make it on, but you've done most of the route. I've been kind of recreating that drive down here and adding to it, and so far that's been working. I've got a GoPro Hero 7, and I probably will upgrade to a 9 eventually, just because the hyperlapse settings are a little better. But that is it's been more beneficial than I thought. Once I got it set up and figured it out, super easy to do. And if anybody's doing a drive or doing one of my drives from the website, please do this. If you have a 7 or higher, just set it on hyperlapse, 4K, 30 frames per second. And I think it's a 15:1 ratio is what I'm using. And you can get killer footage of your drives without dragging everybody through like a full length video that takes forever to upload and edit. So,
and GoPro has finally figured out the link between the phones and the GoPros where you can see the cameras.
Yes.
Which is really nice. There was a lot of issues in the past, and then they have that desktop now where you can edit it and it'll go to, and they even have their own cloud, I think. So it has drastically changed, which is nice.
Yeah, and so I've been searching for like what the best deals are on the 9 right now, and I thought it was Costco, but it's actually wrong. So the best deal I found right now is actually from GoPro. For $350 right now, you can get the 9 with a 1-year subscription for unlimited cloud storage. Which, due to the size of footage, that is a really good deal because you're uploading gigabytes at a time. So, one, you're going to kill your data cap. I've actually been uploading and using the hotspot in my truck more than I have because internet is a little slow around here. Shocking, not as slow as at my new place, but I have unlimited 4G in the truck, which is about as good as I can get, and it actually works really well. So I've been doing most of my internet stuff like just sitting in the truck.
Well, I mean, as anybody that listened to last week, you can record from your truck.
That actually sounded really good. I was really surprised.
It did. It actually did sound pretty good. So.
I think we found a new studio.
Hey, well, if you don't sell it, yeah.
No,
don't sell the studio, Dan.
I think I will end up turning it on a new one eventually, but I really do love that truck the more I drive it. So,
yeah, and I was going to say I have a 7 too, and I love it. I don't use it for as much as it is, and I think so many people shy away from buying GoPros because you buy one and then they release 6 new models. They're sort of like the McLaren of the camera world right now.
Right.
So yeah, but that new 9 looks really neat, and that's the problem too. As I look and I go, well, why don't I? What does that have that I don't have? Like the new Max lens mods and all that. I really like it. So.
Yeah, the only reason that one has any appeal to me is because it has better hyperlapse capabilities, smoother hyperlapse. I don't plan on recording in 5K. I don't really need anything. When you're doing time lapse or hyperlapse, the frame rate isn't really an issue. It's because you're intentionally slowing the frame rate for hyperlapse and time lapse. But the image stabilization is where it's at for me. And when you're doing a lot of driving videos and things like that, GoPro is really light years above the rest when it comes to image stabilization and hyperlapse. So this isn't tip of the week. It should be, but here it is. Time lapse is for when the GoPro is not moving, when the camera's not moving and the subject is. So if you're doing like a sunset or a long shot of nature or something, that's when you want to use time lapse. Hyperlapse is for when you're moving. So if you can use like a vehicle is pretty stable, so time lapse will still work, but you can compare them side by side and it's night and day. So if you're doing vehicle time lapse, you want to use the hyperlapse feature in GoPro, not time lapse.
Interesting. Yeah, I learned something new.
Yeah,
I was laughing because you and I are so connected. I was on the GoPro side a couple of days ago, and I was laughing because they have a bite mouth. Basically, it's this mouth that you hold in your teeth. It's like a mouth guard, and I'm like, that seems like a really good way to lose your teeth. I'm just gonna. I mean, maybe it would be for me because I like to craft things. So.
I was going to say that's me to a T.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Speaking of biking, congratulations to Linnea. She took third in women's pro this weekend in the pro finals.
Hey, nice
shout out to
job.
her. Saw that. So previous guest, cool person to know if you're into biking. So follow Fluid Ride, check her out. She's a good real racer. Anyway.
Yeah, real racer.
Unlike
us. Some of these old school racers that used to take their bikes on chairlifts to the top and then ride down. Those people are despicable. So,
yeah, I'm just plain terrible at biking, so it's yeah.
I am too.
I saw something else.
Right.
Speaking of previous guests, Keith Northrup Fab. I saw him. He built a rig for his kid. He built a trailer hitch onto a Power Wheels. I think it's a little Jeep or something, or a truck. But that
doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, he built a trailer hitch and a trailer on the back with these little cones set up so his kids could practice backing in a trailer. And I was just like, that is genius. Like, they're going to be doing this their whole lives. By the time those kids are 16, they'll be like getting paid $50 to park boats on the boat ramp.
Yeah. Oh, we. Speaking of that, and since you've left, somebody decided to drive their car off the boat ramp down in Sammamish. I saw that they were towing some new Chevrolet out of the lake with the boat with the trailer still attached. So that was nice. Yeah.
That's hilarious. That happens a lot too. It's just really funny.
I know, but I mean, I'm sure these kids have the nicest rig ever on their Power Wheels. So
yeah, it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, and if you ever want to have a good time, go online and look up these dads that juice up the Power Wheels with the DeWalt drill batteries. That's fun to watch. Yeah.
It's a little scary, but it's hilarious.
Yeah, don't do it and then just give it to your kid. Test it first.
I think there was one. I think I sent it to you of a dad doing that and his daughter driving it, and then she just starts. She finally stops and just starts bawling, saying, "It's too fast, Daddy."
It's fast.
It's adorable, but it's sad.
Yeah, I mean, fast is good, right?
Yeah,
fast is good. Yeah,
it's the sudden stop that's the problem. It's not the speed.
Right. What does Clarkson say? Speed's not the problem. It's the sudden stop when you crash. Yeah, that'll be good. Interesting. Well, I don't know what else is on the agenda this week. I mean, I think it's now that you're down there having fun and we're enjoying the rain up here.
Like I said, I put it out up on Avance, but if any of our listeners are in the area, let me know. I know a few people are coming down. Garb's on a road trip with his family, his wife and his parents. They've been going all over. He's been recreating some of the routes from the endurance drive, literally with his family, which is kind of hilarious to me.
All of them in the back of that Corvette, huh? That sounds like a real good
the
thing.
X3, of course, but it's been fun he's been taking them on all the roads. He'll be here on Thursday evening, actually. He's going to join me for dinner and hanging out, and then I think Kelly Dennehy, I don't know if you know Kelly. He was friends with Sam. He's the Dennehy on Instagram, Avance guy as well, of course. He's going to come down, I think, this weekend or next. But, I got a lot of people just passing through because it's like I said, it is the perfect time to come down here. It's the perfect time to get out and drive because, well, stuff's not on fire yet. And it will be. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. It's the way we've seen for the last several years is forest fires tend to be a real problem now. more than they ever have, and it keeps getting worse, unfortunately. So.
And you're down there till what, the 27th, something like that?
27th, 28th, I think. I can't remember what it is. I think
right.
I leave the 28th, and then I'll be back. So, yeah.
Nice. Excellent.
Grandpa, what do you call this thing again?
It's a 66 Ford Bronco.
I think you got ripped off.
Why is that, honey?
It's got no Wi-Fi, no USB port, no Bluetooth.
Exactly. I guess we'll just have to talk.
Sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect.
Is that the window button?
It's called a window crank.
Cool. The faster I move it, the faster it goes down.
This moment of escape was created by Haggerty.
Being old is kind of cool, Grandpa.
Works for me.
For people who love cars.
So we'll go ahead and look at our Avance calendar. I think there's about 2 or 3 events coming up in the next week. One of them that we'll probably definitely be at. I know I will be at. But on the 13th, they have an Avance Denver drive. Obviously, if you're down as part of Avance in Denver and you're listening to this, you should definitely go check that out. On the 14th, on Monday the 14th, there's the Ferrari SF90 Spider launch, which I believe is here in Seattle, and I think that is a sign-up only because that's a pretty exclusive event. And then the one event you should always come to here in the Pacific Northwest is the Avance. And one event you should always is the Avance Off-Road, a monthly off-road event, which is June 19th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Out at the Avance course on the backside of Dirtfish. There's the morning events and then the evening events. Make sure you sign up for that. I think there are still spaces available as of right now. Yeah, for the morning session, which is 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., and then the afternoon session, 1 to 3.
Yeah, have you been following Avance Off-Road, you've probably seen they actually started doing changes to the track now, finally.
Well, I see they have one small dog out there was digging holes, but I don't know if that's enough, so, yeah.
I saw 2 tractors. I saw a small Kubota and a smaller Kubota. And I was like...
Imagine that. Some people in Avance that own tractors, huh? Is that why you bought a tractor, Dan? Are you starting
I just wanted to fit in.
Yeah, all the cool kids have cars and tractors, yeah. Well, I mean, there's a few other things that are coming up after that, but it's going to be a good month as things start to open up here. It's really neat. So. Yep.
Well, go have a drink with Brandon Benpal because I don't think we've gotten him hammered enough yet. So, Brandon Benpal.
Well, I forgot about Brandon Benpal. It's hard to forget about Brandon Benpal. He's such an interesting guy. So, I mean, I see he was out showing off his beautiful R8 that's finally finished. So.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't hate him much, but yeah. Brandon Benpal, I hope you're enjoying your car. So, yeah.
I'm jealous. I really, really want one of those. But, yeah.
I know you do. Yeah. You'll find one, but it's just we might have to build one out of an A4 right now because it'll be cheaper. So
Yes, that's true.
It's just so much easier. Well, good. Well, I think that kind of wraps up this week's episode. Please don't get used to Nicholas sounding like this, like I'm coming through. I don't even know what I sound like. I sound like I got a head cold from where I am. So we do have a couple of people that we've reached out to do some interesting phone interviews that aren't local, and hoping to hear back from them this month and get them on the show.
Yeah, we still have some guests, even though we're out of town. So we're working it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think we've done a phone thing since the last time I was drinking down in Scottsdale. Yeah.
Nobody could tell.
Laying in the back of the van going, oh. But I had a designated driver. So, yeah. All right. Well, for this, go ahead.
I miss you, man.
I'll let you go. I miss you too. I mean, it's weird not having you down the hill. It really is. Like, I may have to go make friends with the new people that live at your house just because I feel at home there. So. All right. Well, for this episode of Rain City Supercars, as always, I'm Nick.
I'm Dan, and don't just get there. Enjoy the drive.